We are going to run some washes, and so we're going to mix our color up, and I'm going to use this New Gamboge, and I want it nice and thick. I don't want a real watery wash. I want it to have some oomph and some thickness to it. So I'm looking for consistency more like milk instead of like tea or coffee. And you can tell your consistency by when you drag the brush through it. You're not going to really see the bottom. So this one, you can see that's a very, 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 that's just like the weakest tea right there. And this one's a little thicker. This wash is still tea, but it's a little stronger. But we want it more like milk. And the way you tell, like I said, you can drag your brush through it and see. So I just keep getting a little more. So I've got plenty of paint and it's thick enough. Now, if I were to rinse my brush right now, I would have to be certain and dry it because it would bring water into my wash, and I don't want any water in my wash. I want it to be a nice thick one. I'm going to get my brush nice and wet, make sure I don't have any globs on it. And if you get a glob that you really are worried about or you can't work off, paint with the other side of the brush, but work it, work it off. So here we go, a big scoop of paint, and I start at the top and I run it across. See how it's nice and thick? And I can take this paint and work it down at the top till I get that bead going, until I can see the little bead of paint form. And so now you can see there's a bead of paint that's hanging on. So I'll start to work. I make sure my brush is fully loaded, and I'm going about 1/3 of the brush and the rest of it dry paper. I'm just real gently running across. Now I have enough wet paint on my brush that I can do it again. So once again, 1/3 and 2/3 of the paper, and running a straight line straight across. Now scoop some more paint, make sure it's fully loaded brush, 1/3, 2/3, and all the way across. Scoop the paint. Scoop the paint. So very important when you are running a wash that you mix enough paint to do the entire area that you're going to want to be painting. Because if I were to run out of paint now, it would be difficult for me to mix enough. Now I touched that and I really shouldn't have, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo that line entirely. And hopefully that'll make it okay. When you're doing just a flat wash, it is important not to go back into it. Okay, so I'm all the way to the end. So when you get to the end, you're going to want to take your paper towel and dry the edges. I only take this one on the top and bottom. So I'm running my little paper towel right down that edge and getting it nice and dry. Just barely get it. Nice and dry. I'm going to find a dry edge. And then the top. Okay, so we're going to do this again. So I'm going to just melt the paint off my brush. Rinse my brush. Then dry my brush off. And I'm going to come over to my red. And see, instead of T, see how it's thicker? So it was T before. But see, now you don't see the bottom, so it's milk. So I'm not going to do it all 6 colors because I just don't want to waste my color. But I do want you to see the difference between the weak color and the stronger color. Okay, this is more like milk. I could do it even thicker, but this is more of a consistency of milk. And so here we go. This is going to flow much easier because now this is wet into wet. And it could definitely be thicker. My bead is gathered up on the left side, so I'm just going to help it. Okay, so just do that a couple of times and practice a wash with a little thicker paint, just to build your confidence. I can see that still running. The pigmentation is still moving. I'm wiping my edges. And I really want to be certain this bottom edge that I wipe it well. It's the one most likely to bloom back, but all of them, of course, will do it. Okay, and now I'll just let it dry. Always, if you're going to leave your brushes, if you're done painting, always rinse them. Don't leave them just to dry, and do not leave them stuck in the water because it'll destroy that nice, beautiful edge that you have. So if you're going to leave it, go ahead and rinse it really well. And make sure it's actually clean. And I will go and run this under a sink of running water, a faucet of running water. Thank you. Bye-bye.